Before you try another ashwagandha supplement, purchase an infrared sauna, or even book another wellness retreat to Sedona, there's something you need to understand about your nervous system. While the best news ever is that nervous system regulation and support are trending with all sorts of providers, parents, and other experts talking about ways to hack your nervous system. But like most hacks, they only go surface level and rarely get deep enough to truly help heal and repair most people's nervous systems. We are the biggest fans of nervous system regulation, functional medicine, supplementation, detox programs, diet changes, and fitness programs. But the number one thing patients tell us today is that they've tried everything and nothing seems to be working. The brain fog, anxiety, exhaustion, it persists for parents, and the sleep issues, sensory challenges, and behavior problems stay stuck in the loop far too long for many kids. But here's what most parents and even providers don't yet realize: you can't regulate a nervous system that needs to be repaired first. Until we dive deep and repair the foundational problems, everything else ends up just surface level band aids that eventually peel off and don't get the job done. If you're a parent who's exhausted from trying intervention after intervention with no lasting results, and you're ready to understand why nothing seems to work when it comes to your current healing plan, then keep listening. There's a crucial difference between nervous system repair and nervous system regulation, and that's why your wellness practices keep failing despite your best efforts. You're going to understand the perfect storm and how that creates deep neurological dysfunction in our kids, but then also what the missing foundational piece is that makes everything finally work 10 times better. Depending on what research you look at, here are some shocking stats. 60 to 70% of US adults have at least one chronic illness, and the numbers are not that much better in kids. They're about 40 to even more than 50, according to some research. So, whether we're talking about chronic digestive issues, autoimmune diseases, or neurodevelopmental challenges like autism, the rates of nearly everything have exploded in just a couple of generations. This means we can't simply blame genetics or better diagnostic criteria, but instead we have to put the blame squarely on where it belongs: a chronically stressed, chaotic, toxic, and over medicalized environment and lifestyle. We see this pattern every single week in our practice. Parents come in after trying everything. They've been to multiple specialists. They've invested in every therapy protocol and program available. They see temporary improvements and maybe a good few weeks, but then everything resets. Anxiety comes back, digestive issues flare up again, the developmental progress stalls, and it's not these approaches that don't work. It's just that the problem runs deeper than that. Nervous system repair addresses the actual dysfunction within the nervous system itself. The interference and disruption that's caused by past trauma or accumulated stress, and it's leading to what we call subluxation and nervous system dysfunction. Think of it like repairing faulty wiring in your home's electrical system. No matter how many 4K TVs or sound systems you try and plug in to make your house more awesome, it just overloads the system further and eventually everything breaks down. The problem is not with the equipment you're trying to add in, it's with the foundational power supply that needs to be repaired. Nervous system regulation includes practices that help an already intact nervous system shift into a calmer, more balanced state. Breathing exercises, yoga, meditation, cold therapy, supplements, and various wellness practices. Here's the critical distinction: repair is fixing the engine, regulation is learning how to drive it smoothly. You can take all the driving lessons in the world, but if the engine itself is broken, you're not going anywhere. According to a book called The Body Keeps the Score, which is an amazing book, by the way, trauma isn't just processed and filed away in our minds. It's stored in the actual tissues, structures, and the nervous system of the body. So it's often far below our conscious awareness. And all of this is known as the somatic or neurospinal system. This is why you feel all sorts of stress, whether it's from physical exertion, toxins and chemicals, or long, stressful, and emotional days. They get fully stuck in your neck, between your shoulder blades, and in your low back or other parts of your body. When your body encounters overwhelming stress or trauma, it goes into protection mode. This is brilliant for survival in the moment, but that protective state can become locked in and it creates patterns of dysfunction that persist long after the initial threat is gone. You simply can't talk your way out of trauma that's stored in your neurospinal system, your brainstem, and vagus nerve. Similarly, you can't breathe away physical subluxation patterns that have been locked into your nervous system since birth trauma or early childhood stress. There's a fundamental principle in neuroscience: you can't be in growth and protection at the same time. And when your nervous system is stuck in that sympathetic dominant survival oriented state, all the meditation and supplements in the world won't create lasting change. While we know modern life is super stressful for us as adults, what most parents and providers don't yet realize is how early the stress, toxicity, and medicalization of our current lifestyle starts for mostly our children. Today, they're going through a series of stressors that create cascading neurological dysfunction. Prenatal stress when mom experiences high anxiety or takes certain medications, birth interventions like C-sections, which are now about 1 in 3, or induction that place profound physical strain on an infant's delicate brainstem and upper neck. Early childhood stressors compound the problem. Colic, reflux, and constipation, they're not just normal infant struggles. They're early warning signs of nervous system dysfunction. When these lead to frequent ear infections and repeated rounds of antibiotics, the damage deepens. Research shows that repeated antibiotic use in children under the age of 2 are significantly more likely to struggle with allergies, asthma, and gut issues later on. The level of stress and trauma most children experience locks the neurospinal system into such a deeply stuck state that surface level interventions simply can't get through it. It's not that other approaches are wrong. The dysfunction is just too severe for them to address on their own. When subluxation creates constant interference in the system and the vagus nerve is dysfunctional from early trauma, regulation tools are like trying to change the thermostat when the furnace itself is broken. What are the clinical signs that repair must come first? That's a great question that we get pretty often. Therapies and interventions don't stick or provide lasting results. Gut health protocols that work temporarily, they plateau or they constantly have a relapse after periods of improvement. High reactivity to small triggers, and quickly resetting back to a stress state even after calming activities. Once the system is repaired and in a ready state, breath work becomes more effective. Supplements are better absorbed and utilized. Dietary changes create more significant impacts, and the body's innate healing capacity can finally activate. Nervous system repair opens the door for all those regulation tools to finally work as intended. Your family doesn't need more health hacks or surface level supplements. You need the right foundation first. Through neurologically focused chiropractic care, we measure and restore nervous system function using advanced scanning technology and gentle, effective adjustments. We help release years of built up stress and tension so your child's body or your own can finally shift from protective mode into healing mode. Click the link in our bio, comment below, or send us a DM to schedule with myself or Dr. Josh and the team here at New Ridge Chiropractic and Wellness in Colorado Springs. We can't wait to dive deep and see if nervous system repair is what you've been missing all along.